Welcome to Mr. Podcast with Claude.
And Justin.
Hello, everybody. We are talking about Black Widow, the 2021 film today.
Ooh.
Aren't you excited?
I couldn't be more excited.
Everyone's favorite spy is back. Back from the dead, they say. They said it can be done. Back from the
dead. They were like, she's dead. How can we have a movie? It makes no sense. How are they going to resurrect? What's going to happen? What's the magic? Alternate universe. Time travel. What's going to happen?
Yeah. Dream sequence.
Dreams!
Yeah.
Sometimes
nanotechnology.
Dreams. What did you say? Nanotechnology?
Nanotechnology.
Yeah, why not? Get some nanoprobes. Throw those in. Maybe that'll help.
It couldn't hurt.
Yeah, why not? Why not? I've heard it gives you great mental acuity and abilities and stuff.
Well, what they ended up doing was just having a lot of flashbacks.
Flashbacks?
Yeah, everyone's favorite.
Boo!
How do you really feel?
Boo! Yeah, I have to say, if I have like a number one regret about this movie, it's that I just feel it should have come out like years ago.
Oh, that was impossible though. But yes, it would have been better.
It just seems like it would have fit like in that era where it's actually set, you know? Post-Civil War, I guess. Like, it should have come out, like, right around that time. Or pre-Civil War? I don't know. I'm a little confused about that. Anyway, just that time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it just would have made more sense. It's just kind of strange to do it like this. It's sort of like, oh, yeah, we never did a Black Widow movie, and she's already dead, so I guess we'll go back and just do it.
Never too late.
It'll be fine. Why not? Who's going to complain? Right? I mean,
well, I'm going to complain, and here's the complaining starting. The complaints start now. Cue complaints.
And go.
And go with the complaints.
Yeah, yeah.
Let's just get it. Let's kick it off by
My only complaint is that it was released too late. Everything else is perfect, so
yeah,
I don't know what you're going to say.
Well, this will be a short podcast for your end. I guess you're done talking, and I'll just...
Yeah, sheer perfection. The end.
I'll just soliloquy the whole rest of the way. Okay, so look, Black Widow is one of my favorite Avengers. You know, she's one of my favorite characters in the MCU. I think Scarlett Johansson does a great job.
Yeah.
You know, when you see her first in Iron Man 2, which you haven't seen.
That's where she's in first?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah, so I won't spoil it too much, but she shows up there first, and you don't really know what's going on with her. And you got to reveal, you know, who she's really working for and why she's hanging around Tony and all that kind of stuff.
All right.
I mean, that's your sound of excitement.
Oh, is that what it is?
Is it?
I don't know what my sounds mean.
Why are you groaning?
I'm just groaning because I'm like, does that mean I got to watch Iron Man 2
Of course
now?
you have to watch Iron Man 2 and 3.
I was trying to get away from it, but
Why?
I thought I was out.
No, you should want to watch You should want to watch as much RDJ as you can, dude. He's the best. He's the best.
RDJ. Oh, yeah, sure. Sorry, is that a thing, or did you just make that up?
RDJ? No, that's a thing.
People say that?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Wow, I didn't know that. No, look, hey, nobody's a bigger RDJ fan than me. Like,
clearly, because you know all of his nicknames.
I've been... Yeah, all right, look. There's a difference, all right? You know, behind the scenes, what people call him, sure, maybe I'm not an expert, but...
behind the scenes on the internet?
On the internet, you know, I'm not up on the internet RDJ discourse, as it were.
Yeah.
Sure, you got me on that one. But... I've always thought that he was good. I mean, he's in Shortcuts. He's great in Shortcuts.
Are you taking credit for acknowledging his good acting before everybody else? Is that what you're trying to posture yourself as doing here?
Yeah, pretty much.
You're the OG.
Before anyone else did.
You're the OG RDJ FAN.
Exactly. Yeah, print that.
Chris Dad. There it is. Put that on a t-shirt. Actually, that's a pretty good t-shirt. Okay, continue boasting about how you knew he was great before everybody else.
Seriously, like if anyone hasn't seen, and that includes you, the movie Shortcuts, it's a really good movie, and his character in particular in the movie is really interesting, and he's great in it. It's a very crazy, subtle, and strange part that he plays in that movie. So anyway, like.
So I mean, okay, listen. I hear your. I watched him in Shortcuts, which came out in 1993. But I raise you. I saw him in Chaplin, which came out in 92.
Okay.
And Soap did out in 91.
Okay.
And Air America, which came out in 90. And I didn't really know he was good until Chaplin, but I did see him. I think Air America was the first movie I remember seeing him in.
Yeah, I definitely saw Chaplin. I don't remember if I saw Air America. I definitely heard of it. I feel like maybe I didn't see that one. I just knew that it was a thing.
Mm-hmm. You saw it at Blockbuster?
I saw the box in Blockbuster.
Yep.
That stuff is like, it's like really memorable when you see those boxes like over and over again. Wasn't he in? Am I wrong? He was in Less Than Zero, right? Yeah. He
was in Less Than Zero.
I've never
don't take credit for that because I didn't see that movie until way later. I didn't see it.
Okay. I still have yet to see it, but I know of it. It's notable.
Yeah, that's good. If you want to be depressed, great. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, right. Natural Born Killers. Oh, his character in Natural Born Killers is totally ridiculous. He's doing this like Australian. He's like he's playing an Australian tabloid reporter. It's really over the top, but it's very entertaining. So that was a good one. I mean, he's been a ton of shit. I mean, he's been around forever. Wonder Boys. I mean, who can forget the Michael Chabon masterpiece, Wonder Boys?
Some might say it's the best thing he's ever done.
I forgot that he was even in that movie, but the movie was fine. I guess he did Scanner Darkly. I forgot he was in that.
Scanner Darkly is a great movie, and he's great in it. I recommend that. Philip K. Dick, one of the best adaptations of Philip K. Dick.
Interesting. Yeah.
Can I just have a quick aside to say we're spending a lot of time talking about Black Widow here. Neither the character nor the star.
Sorry, I've been pulled from the thing by the thing you said.
Don't worry. When we talk about Iron Man movies, we'll spend an hour talking about Scarlett Johansson's filmography.
Yeah.
Just for equity.
It'll be relevant somehow.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, she hasn't been around quite as long as or RDJ has, but she has done a lot of stuff, to be fair. But I was just thinking, like, the Iron Man thing for me is like, I guess, because I've only seen the one movie and I've seen the event. Like, it's not really the primary thing I think of when I think of him. So anyway, it's probably partially just because I haven't seen the other two ones. But Zodiac, I don't love the movie, but it's definitely interesting in a way.
Zodiac.
There's something there. I think. I almost like that movie. It's like a swing and a miss for me. The Sherlock Holmes thing, he did that. That was something. I kind of prefer the later Sherlock Holmes, the Benedict Cumberbatch version, but this was more action movie-ish. On that level, it was fine. I can't complain. But anyway, all right. Why the fuck am I talking? Yeah, you already made this point, and I'm just getting here now.
Back to Iron Man 2, Scarlett Johansson.
You're telling the story of Black Widow, Natasha Romanoff from the beginning. Yeah.
So she shows up in that movie.
Yeah, thank you.
And then next you see her in the Avengers, which you have seen.
Yes.
Excuse me, Marvel's The Avengers.
That was the first movie that I saw her in. The character, not ScarJo.
Yeah,
she's been in other stuff. But yeah.
So she's one of my favorite characters. I think she does a great job in all of these movies. They do a good job. They do a good job with her character. Considering she's not the most like powerful Avenger, she's
Yeah,
not necessarily in charge up until
right.
you get to sort of to Endgame where she's the last one standing in the command center until everybody
Yeah,
else starts showing
yeah.
back
She's sort of
up.
like the Sawyer, like holding down the fort while
Yeah,
they like wait for
yeah,
stuff, and yeah, like
exactly.
so. Yeah,
She's a
yeah,
total Sawyer.
yeah,
Her whole character is a Sawyer. She's
yeah.
a
You're
bad
right.
girl. She's a bad girl who's always against law, the right side of the law, and then she
Yep.
finds her way on the good side of
Dark,
the
tragic
law.
past.
Yep, yep,
And
yep.
then yeah, like regrets about what she did,
Daddy
and
issues.
daddy issues. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, yeah.
All good assassins have daddy issues, they say. All good spies have
Yeah, I don't
a
think I would have made that connection if I had. Yeah, that's interesting. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
But one of the things I've always loved about her character, and this is gonna dive into my first criticism of the movie,
Mm-hmm.
is I think she's sort of the best fighter of all the Avengers. Like she's not the most powerful, but in terms like pound for pound, like they
Mm-hmm.
consistently show her being one of the best fighters. If basically like if she had the super soldier serum like Steve Rogers has, I think she could beat Captain America. You know what I mean? In
Mm-hmm.
a fair fight. Like
Right.
one of my favorite things that illustrates that is the opening of Civil War, when they're kind of storming the building, and you've got Falcon and Scarlet Witch and Captain America and Black Widow are all there, and they're all like taking out bad guys in the beginning, and you literally see like Falcon takes out like three guys, and then like Scarlet Witch takes out a guy or two, and like Cap comes on the scene and he takes out like I think he takes out like four people, something like that, three or four, pretty quickly, and then that's kind of the opening sequence, and then some shit goes wrong, and then Black Widow shows up as backup, and she takes out 11 bad guys. She takes out 11 bad guys
Did
in
you
like
count that?
45. I
Or
counted every time I watch the
okay.
movie. I count because it's really, 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 really remarkable. She's the smallest, and you know what I mean. But like,
Mm-hmm.
she takes out 11 bad guys, and it ends with like the dude. I forgot his name. The bad guy from the bad Hydra agent um, from Winter Soldier. I forgot the character's name. But he picks her up and like throws her in a tank, and puts a grenade in there with her and closes the hatch, and
Mm-hmm.
she's got like 10 seconds. She's in a tank with a grenade about to go off and two bad guys who are also caught off guard.
Mm-hmm.
And within 10 seconds, she knocks both guys out and then like uses one guy as a human shield as the grenade blasts her out of the thing, and then she gets up and keeps going. And
Mm-hmm.
this is her intro, you know what I mean? Like, so she's a badass, and they've given her due, I think, on screen to really kind of show that. And she's got this thing where she's like part I always think of her as like part Captain America and part Tony Stark, where like she's a really good fighter like Captain America, but like she also relies on her tools and her tricks to get her out of trouble, like Tony Stark.
Right.
When shit hits the fan, like she needs a zapper, or she needs a grenade, or she needs a gun, or she needs something,
Yeah.
to kind of even the scale. So anyway, my whole point with this whole thing is just the fact that they've consistently shown her to be such a great fighter, and so when I was like heard about this movie, I was like, oh man, this is gonna be great. It's just gonna be 2 hours of her kicking ass the whole movie. Wow, this is gonna be awesome. Like,
Mhm.
yeah, focus on her being the best fighter. And that's just not what we got, I don't even think there's really any memorable fight scenes in the whole movie. You've got now there's some good set pieces in terms of like the action and what they were doing, but like in terms of actual really good fights, I was really let down, and especially considering they have Taskmaster, in the movie, which is supposed to be like, if anybody's going to give her a run for her money, fighting wise, it's going to be the character who specifically can copy all her moves, which
Mm-hmm.
they never really did. They did it one. I think. I think they did it one time when she first runs into Taskmaster. She tries to do
Yeah.
her little move, and then Taskmaster does it back to her, and then that's it. But they don't actually play it out like how you normally see these fights go, where she's actually trying to fight, and Taskmaster is like, copying her and outmaneuvering her, and she has to like change her moves in order to defeat that. Anyway, so I was really
Yeah.
let down by that. I didn't think there were any good villains in the movie, any good antagonists. I thought Drykov was really badly written. It didn't
Mm-hmm.
make us. We can get into some details, but his whole goal and motivation didn't really make any sense because he basically had all the power he's ever needed, and he was just like, well, maybe I can have Black Widow too, but I don't really need her because like I've got widows everywhere. Like it was so weird. It's like, why did you guys should have said like he's working on like getting the widows back into power, not they've been in power this whole time and he's fine. So that was a little weird to me. But and then like I think my other big criticism is the family stuff. I thought worked generally okay. I just didn't think it was set up that well. With them only being a family for like 3 years, and that's supposed to hinge like all the emotional weight on all these sort of metaphors of mom and dad and sisters. I think that amount of time they were together as a family should have been longer
Oh
to make
man.
that make sense.
Yeah.
But so those are kind of my big things, and I thought, yeah, I don't know, I guess I was disappointed by what the actual plot of the movie was. But I thought the sister character was pretty well done. Um,
Yeah.
I think when they're in the scene together, the movie works pretty well. But yeah, there's just some like consistency things that we can nitpick, but so yeah,
Yeah.
overall, it's at the bottom of my list of favorite Marvel movies for sure. Uh, it's probably near Thor: Dark World. It's like
Okay.
yeah, it's not very high.
Yeah. 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 Um. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I think I agree with some of that. A lot of it actually. The action stuff was okay, but I'm just a little bit of a bad person to even ask about action because my way of processing those scenes is just very. I don't know, like they're just all kind of the same to me. So
Mhm.
I can't really evaluate it. It seemed like on par to me, but what do I know? I'm just not a connoisseur of that sort of thing. So it was like there was like jumping around and like punching, and I was like, okay, I mean,
There's jumping around and punching. Wow, wow.
like what more do you want?
Wow.
I
There's
don't know.
jumping around and punching.
I don't know. No, I mean, like I kind of see what you mean, but like I guess that's not. But what I will agree with, like 100%, and probably even, I suspect I want this even more than you do, or at least like a greater quantity. Maybe that's what more means. Anyway, which is the opening stuff with the childhood. We talked about this in the Captain America podcast where I wanted more on the boring stuff, and I feel like I'm on a similar page here where I could have done with like I don't know, half hour, maybe even 45 minutes just with the childhood stuff because I do think it would have had more impact if they actually. It's like we pick up with it and it's ending, and then like you said, they hinge all this stuff on it, and it's like, but we didn't really. Like
Yeah.
we didn't really get a sense of that, so it feels very shallow in that way, and that's just kind of unfortunate because that is
Yep.
like supposed to carry the weight. So yeah, I wish they had actually. It would have been a bold move too, because basically you don't have your star on screen for so long, But I feel like that would have been cool. I would have been impressed if they were actually like willing to do that. just to like
Well,
really.
they could have just cut. Yeah, to your point though, they could have just done with flashbacks, right? So you can still get her in, get Scarlett Johansson in the first 30 minutes, but
Oh
maybe
yeah.
more.
Intermittently, yeah. I guess like I wouldn't have minded an extended sequence, but they could have done it the other way,
Yeah,
and that probably would have served the same basic fun. But it's like the Americans thing that's happening in that
totally.
opening segment, and I love the Americans. It's a great show. There's a lot of interest there for me with the
Mm-hmm.
idea of Russian spies living in secret in the United
Mm-hmm.
States, and like the point of the story they give is like they're just bored, which I think kind of sucks. But in the show, like there's like crazy stuff going on. They got assignments and they're supposed to like
Mm-hmm.
do things. They're not just like we're just sitting here bored. And
Yeah.
I don't know, like to me that was too bad.
And I think, yeah, sorry to interject, just want to
No,
interject to your
please.
point. Like, yeah, the fact that they're bored, I think, also undercuts the drama, right?
Yeah,
Imagine, because I mean, it makes sense that these KGB agents, the parents are totally understanding of what they have to do. This is just a job, right? This is their
yeah,
commitment to their country. So when they have to say goodbye to the kids, it's not a heartfelt thing. But imagine if it was.
right,
Imagine if the dad was like, "Holy shit, I'm trained to not care, but now I actually care that these kids are leaving me."
yeah.
Or that the woman I was pretending was my wife, fuck, I fell in love with her for real.
Mm-hmm.
So that later when these characters come back, like they have something to play against.
Yeah,
That was actually real. So it's an odd thing. It's an odd thing to try to make work. Because it's feel like when we catch back up with them in the present, it's like they sort of try to relive those roles, but they weren't really real, so
mm,
they don't really go that far with them. So yeah, but they want to have this like, oh, you were the closest thing I ever had to a mom, and it's like, yeah, but like I only knew you for 3 years,
it's
and
still
so
pretty
what?
far away. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, totally. Yeah. So I agree with that point pretty much, completely. I will also say that I think probably my favorite thing from the movie was the sister character, and I think the scenes where it's just the two of
Mm-hmm.
them, like sitting
Mm-hmm.
and talking or in a car talking or whatever. Like to me, those are the
Yeah,
like most entertaining scenes in the whole movie.
I agree with that.
They were like really. I also liked the father character, this like
Yeah,
offshoot like Russian Captain America,
yeah,
played by the guy from Stranger Things,
yeah.
and hitting similar notes.
With the
Even
whole
though this,
'80s thing, yeah.
yeah, exactly, and like this like thing with like these sort of surrogate daughter figures with like
Yes.
like they sort of have powers. I mean, not exactly, but they have skills and
Yeah.
they get in these dangerous situations. And he's in that weird zone of like partially being protective and partially being proud. And, there's like, I don't know. I
Mm-hmm.
feel like he's like almost typecast in that way,
Mm-hmm.
as this like surrogate father figure.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I found that character to be entertaining as well, and I thought some of his scenes worked, and I just liked the idea. I feel like there's something there that is kind of underplayed, and I don't think it
I
really
think
comes to
yes,
fruition. But the idea of
yes.
like a competing Captain
That's
America,
exactly what it was. It was underplayed, and it didn't. It was almost like he needs his own movie or something,
yeah,
or you know what we should have had was the so the first 15 minutes of the movie are the childhood scene, and then they get broken up. The family gets broken up. To your point, if they had gone another 10 or 15 minutes and gone to the whole first act with them as a family, I think the second part should have been him in his prime, being that
yeah,
Captain Russia or whatever the hell he was, Red
Red
Sky or whatever,
Guardian,
Red Guardian. Yeah, I think that's what was missing was us seeing him in his prime, so that when he
mm-hmm.
is over the hill and but still has power, and he's like, "Oh, I was the," like we would have seen it, and we would have had a connection to it, and we would have been able to see the differences between what he's doing now and how he's being that character now versus before. and that would have given him more to play. Yeah, I think I agree. I like David Harbour a lot. He can play these parts in his sleep, and I thought they got a lot out of that idea of this spy who signed up for this thing, and now he's got some powers, and and now he's got to like try to deal with his family again. Like you could have made this another movie from his perspective, right? Because he's got a lot going on with just his character. I thought Rachel Weisz's character needed a bit more screen time. I think she did well with the scenes that she had. And that's why you hire an actress like that, where like when you're going to be like, okay, listen, your character's in 4 scenes, and
right,
you're the emotional heart of one of the characters.
It's tough.
So so when she shows up, it's like, okay, we already think a lot about this character because of who's playing it.
Yep.
But I wish there was more with her. It's almost like I wish they would have.
There's a lot more potential there than what they really realize.
Yeah,
unfortunately.
Yeah, I kind of wish there would have been a.
If anyone hasn't seen The Shape of Things, she's great in that. I recommend it. It's better than The Island, I promise.
I don't think I've seen The Shape of Things. Have I seen
Oh, have you not? Oh, you should check it out. It's really good.
Oh, I've seen The Shape of Things. Neil LaBute, yeah.
I think, with Paul Rudd, yeah. I thought you saw it.
Yeah. Wow. You're like, Rachel Weisz, go see that movie she made 20 years ago.
It's really good. Anyway.
What are you going to do?
I'm a big fan. Anyway, just as an example, like if she has a meaty part, she can really do some great stuff. But yeah, I think it's just a little underwritten, and so it's hard for it to come across the way it should. And yeah, I think like you said, it goes back to the first point. If they had more time with those characters, it would have meant more when they got to the thing. And then the third point that I'll agree with you about, I guess I'll throw in Taskmaster here too. Like, I feel like there was potential there. Also unrealized. Like
completely unrealized.
The character is interesting, and the backstory of the character is interesting.
Yeah.
But they don't actually.
They didn't do anything. They literally locked the character in a cell and was like, "Listen, we don't have time to deal with you. We're just gonna lock you."
What are they doing? It was weird. Weird. Like, why would they?
Yeah.
Why would
you don't have a movie? I think. Listen, if you're gonna have Taskmaster in a Black Widow movie, it's your Winter Soldier to Captain America.
Exactly.
That character has to be putting up more of a fight, and actually, that would have been a great story, right? The villain Taskmaster turns out to be the daughter that she bombed. Like, you can tell they were proud of themselves for coming up with that, because that's not
there's pathos there.
As far as I know, that's not a thing from the comics. Like, that's not canon of who Taskmaster is. Taskmaster is normally a male character. All the references I've seen, Taskmaster is a guy. So they engineered this idea of who Taskmaster is for this plot. So I saw them patting themselves on the back like, ooh, look who it is. It's a woman and it's a woman from her past. But they don't do anything with it. And then the other thing I think that undercuts some of the drama here is the mind control. So when you have Taskmaster's only doing this because he's under mind control, not because the character actually believes in something,
She's
or being paid, or out for revenge, or a mercenary, or whatever the reasons might be. It's like, oh no, just mind control, so it's easy to turn that off.
Yeah, she's just a mindless robot.
It turns into a zombie. Yeah, you basically just make the characters into zombies, and
that's not super interesting, sadly.
Super interesting at all.
And just the realization of the character just wasn't that exciting. But I feel like I feel like there's a version of the movie where they do more with that character as well, and like she could be the main antagonist instead of this fucking guy who's like worthless. Oh my god, the main villain was terrible. I
Drykoff
totally
was really, really, really terrible.
wow, like, what are they doing with that? I was watching that like, this is the fucking villain of this movie?
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Well, what they should have done was say, "Listen, Black Widow, when you bombed Drykoff and thought you killed him, and you defected to Shield, um, what actually happened was he rebuilt his Widow network, but now what he's going to do is use this mind control thing to actually expand the Widow network. You know what I mean? Like to a global scale. Like I think that's what was missing was actual stakes. Like why do you need to stop the villain? Because like right now he's already really powerful. He's had just as much power as he had before because he's got all the widows. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So that's what was weird. Where it's like, okay, he's got all the widows, so he's got what he needs. Then what's his point in this? What the point is of? What is the point of him being in the movie? And then they just say, well, if he had the actual Black Widow, Natasha Romanoff, because she's an Avenger, that somehow is a great gain for him. But they don't actually tell you why or how. Yeah. That what is he gonna do? Like, especially considering what's happening with the Avengers right now, right? Like, they're not like in control of everything like they used to be. Like this is during the like Accords and all that stuff. So It's just a weird time to be like, yeah, I can't wait to get my hands on an Avenger, So it's just, yeah, it was a whole strange. And then that thing at the end where they're like, oh, by the way, you never knew this, but you're pheromone locked and you can't actually attack me. Like that's like where did that come from? Like that should have been integrated into the mind control thing or something. It was just a weird extra like thing that is going on that nobody knew about. And it's like it's kind of like that concept in sci-fi stories where like you get one big crazy idea, you can't have like aliens exist and there's time travel and there's Atlantis, like,
yeah.
Like, so yeah, that was a little weird. Yeah, I thought Drykoff was not a good villain and was useless, really.
Yeah. There was nothing interesting about that. The movie just failed to make that thing work on any level. Yeah, that was probably my biggest disappointment with the movie. Like, because I feel like, action movie like this, like a lot of it depends on how good the villain is. And I think that, that's in terms of like Ultron or Thanos or in the case of like Civil War, because it's internal, and even the Zemo character is like a pretty good villain.
Oh yeah.
It's sort of the villain aspect like is kind of interesting in Civil War, but just to say like in terms of like conflict, like it's really important to have that matter and feel like it is interesting on some level for you to care what's happening and actually be invested in the outcome of all these like punchings and jumpings and all that, so I think like on that, like it's just a huge problem when the villain thing doesn't really work. In fact, I guess in terms of comparing it to the other Marvel movies I've seen, I think the closest one for me was Ant-Man and the Wasp. With this like ghost character, like I felt like that's also
Taskmaster.
Yeah, that's basically the Taskmaster thing. Like it was a little better actually because she did at least have some autonomy and like a point.
And she has some pathos because she was in pain and she didn't want all this
exactly.
Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
It's a very similar. Yeah, it's a very similar setup.
Exactly. But it wasn't, it wasn't as interesting as some of the other ones, and it kind of brought down the movie overall. And so, like, yeah, I would put it in that realm. I think there's other stuff in the movie that maybe made me enjoy it, like, in a way a bit more, but But yeah, I think all of that combines to kind of drag it down. When like I feel like there was a lot of potential here. You know, there's a lot of stuff that does work, and a lot of stuff where it's like, God, if you just thought this through better and like reorganize things a bit, you know, I don't know. I feel like there's a movie here I could have really enjoyed, but because I did enjoy parts of it, and I kept wishing that the movie would be different.
Yeah.
You know, would do
Yeah.
something different with the parts that I liked, basically.
Mm-hmm.
You know, to make the thing as a whole work, because it's like
Yeah,
once
I
they
think
get
it's
back into the
disjointed.
plot, it's like, ugh.
It's
Here we
disjointed
go.
because the family plot doesn't meld with the Dreykov plot. They're not really interconnected, and that should have been more. That should have been more connected.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
Yeah, and it was weird because like he already had the Red Room, he already like had world control. He just hadn't like pulled the trigger, right? He just hadn't done it yet. But he still had his widows everywhere, so it was just a weird thing to be like, well, he's got everything he wants when the movie even starts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, that already sounds like a bad idea when you say it like that. It's like, what? Like, what kind of story is that? That's not normal. You don't start with like, I got everything I want. I don't know. It's like, if you say that, it means something should go wrong, you know? But like, I don't know. It's like, it doesn't seem like things go wrong until like later.
Yeah, and then the other thing that's weird with the plot is how, like, you know, the sister character Yelena comes to her and says, "Listen, I found out that there's this mind control stuff. The widows are being mind controlled. Blah blah blah. Here's these vials that I guess those are the antidotes, right? And I don't know what to do with them, but you're an Avenger, so I'm just gonna give them to you." So I'm like, okay, that's kind of weird, but okay. And then they couldn't think of anything to do but to go to the dad who's been in jail forever and think that he's just going to know where the Red Room is, and he's been out of the game for all these decades, you know, in prison. Okay, that's their only plan? That's their only, like, this is Natasha Romanoff, and all she can think to do is go ask Dad where the Red Room is? Okay. And then, when they go to him, all he can think to do is ask Mom, because Mom should certainly know, because why?
Yeah.
Why will she certainly know where the Red Room is? I mean, which should be even in a more secure location, because like Natasha tried to bomb the guy years before. So it's like whatever normal security he would have had, you think it'd be even crazier now. So that was weird to me, just like from a, you know, the spy angle of like how clues lead to other clues and how mysteries get solved by the character. Like that was not well done at all.
Yeah.
You know?
I agree.
You know, which I thought when you go to Captain America Winter Soldier, where you see Natasha, you know, teaching Steve some spy skills, you know, that worked a lot better when they were going clue to clue and like trying to uncover the mystery about Fury and all the stuff that's happening.
Yeah, the first
like, that felt
movie was super entertaining.
Yeah, that felt like a legit thriller, you know, and this just was like, what are we gonna do? I don't know. Let's go ask somebody over here.
There's a conspiracy from within. It was way more compelling. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't just like there's this guy somewhere doing some shit. Like, let's go find him, I guess.
Yeah, and then it was weird that they get to the mom and she's just hanging out. And I guess she's working on the formula. She's doing something.
Yeah, something with the pigs. Yeah,
something with the pigs. But yeah, it was just weird. It was weird how some of the plot machinations ended up being. And then it was weird that the daughter was like, "I'm upset because no one remembers us being a family," and instead of it being like everyone cared about that time, it was kind of like, well, she just cared because she was the youngest.
Yeah.
You know, so that was a little strange. And I guess she guilt everyone else into caring at some point.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I guess I was disappointed with a lot of just kind of what the plot stuff was. Yeah, I do wish
Yeah,
I like the idea of the family stuff. I wish that was
yeah,
more fleshed out. And then yeah, Taskmaster and Drykov were really big disappointments.
yeah. I agree. The plot doesn't work. I think some of the character stuff fails completely. Some of it works. Um, and and I think that's more or less a summary of how the movie goes. Like when they're doing those character moments at work, it feels like it could be a good movie, but
Yeah,
they don't
there's
string
no
it together
there's
very
no
well.
urgency. There's no like, oh no, if we don't do XYZ, Drykov is gonna take over the
Yeah,
world, or it should have been like same thing in Civil War, where like Winter Soldier, where it's like, okay, the airships are going up. If we don't stop them, every millions of people are gonna die. I feel like that should have been the obvious thing. Was like, now Drykov has what he needs to do his final plan to take world domination. But it's like, no, that's no, he doesn't. He's not doing any of that.
mm-hmm. Yeah, 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 totally. Um, can we talk about the post credit scene real quick?
Yes, let's talk about the post credit
Because
scene.
I already said this to you off podcast, but I just feel like I should put this out there because this is like one of my TV pet peeves, and it keeps coming up. Many shows have variations on this thing, and this isn't TV, but anyway, it's serialized. So basically, they're doing this. So it's like they do this post credit scene where it's set, after Black Widow's die. We saw all that happen in Endgame.
Uh-huh.
And I'm sure you all remember. Spoiler alert! I mean, I assume if you're listening to this, you probably know that. It's kind of weird if you don't. They certainly assume you know that because they show it to you.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but anyway, so it's like set in the present, I guess, or at least at a later time. I'm not sure exactly when.
Yeah.
And then we see this character um, played by Julia Louis-Dreyfus from many things, including Seinfeld. Anyway, I guess she has a character. I guess her name is Contessa Valentina Allegra de Fontaine.
Of course.
That is a ridiculous name. I guess she's just a countess. Okay, so it's not quite as bad as it sounded. Anyway, why? How are you a countess? All right, whatever. I don't need
They
to know
call her
all that.
Val. I think
I guess.
Val.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, that works. I guess she appeared in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. At least that's my understanding. I haven't
That is
actually
correct.
seen it,
I have
but
seen it, and I can attest that is true.
yeah, she shows up there, and so she shows up here. It's Florence Pugh, Yelena, sitting there at the grave, and she comes up to her and says, "I got an assignment for you. You're gonna go kill, Hawkeye, who's quote responsible for Black
Mm.
Widow's death." That's basically what she says.
Basically, what she said.
And we close out on that. And I mean, I see that as a setup. I see why they did a closing scene with that. It brings the story of this movie into the present day stuff. Like it's all very logical. And
Oh,
who could
cool! You love
complain?
it.
Who could complain? But there's just a rub here, which is like if any of you have seen Endgame and you watch what actually happened in the scene where
Yeah.
Black Widow dies, like they fight for it and he's fighting so she doesn't die. Like she 100% chose to basically sacrifice herself for the mission. Like that was how she died. And it's like, is Val just wrong? Is she just confused about what happened? Is she deliberately lying? I mean, no one was really there, so is it just
Yeah.
like I don't know what to think about that. But the
You'll
thing that
have to catch Disney Plus's Hawkeye TV series. to find out the answer to those questions.
But the thing that really bothers me is I just don't like it when a whole plot hinges on a character just being wrong about something, and basically the whole thing could be resolved by like another character saying, like, no, that's not true.
Yeah.
Like that's it. That's all it takes.
They're not gonna dwell on that. I think the idea that the truth of what happened that would get out is I think it's very unlikely the specifics of what happened on that cliff got to people like Val, I think it's probably unlikely. So I think when she says responsible, I think that fits into what people probably think, but I mean, I agree with your point and your pet peeve about that kind of story. Batman versus Superman has a whole long thing where it's all a big misunderstanding, and it's horrible.
It's just so frustrating.
I don't think they're gonna do that here. I don't think they're.
I'm just imagining she shows up. Hey, Hawkeye, I'm here to kill you. You killed my sister, and he's like, "No, I didn't." She's like, "Oh,
yeah,
never mind." Like, it's like what, like.
Yeah.
What do you do with that? I don't know. There's no.
Well, you dive into what the Hawkeye story is about. I mean, this is just a setup for her to meet Hawk to be in the same room with them, right? So it'll turn into whatever that story's about.
Yeah. I guess so, but yeah, just like I don't know. This is a weird setup. I'm not a big fan of that, but I guess you're right that like mostly the post-credit scenes are like just set up for a thing and not really like what specifically in the post-credit scene is like super important. It's really just about like giving you a new context or a thing. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, but I just like it didn't make me want to see it because I'm just like this isn't a good idea for a plot. Like I don't know. So anyway, that just kind of bugged me. Even though like I get why they did it and it does make sense in a way. But I just, some of the other post-credit scenes I found more compelling, I guess, in terms of like making me want to watch a thing and not just thinking like, well, that's going to be easy to resolve.
Sure, yeah.
So anyway, whatever. It's fine. I mean, I do like her character. So, her character being around is a draw for me. It's just like that plot. Like, I hope she gets a better plot than that.
That's not a plot. Yeah.
Whatever you want to call it. A sign, like thing she's doing.
Yeah.
It's I just I would want something more interesting for that character. If you're gonna try to entice me into
I just think like depending on what they actually say, I would be surprised if Nat hasn't talked to her about Clint, so I just don't think
I totally agree.
Just gonna take it at face value. This woman.
I hope not. I hope not. Yeah,
But Val is also being manipulative, and she's got her own agenda and all. I mean, she's a countess. Who can trust a countess, right?
Mm-hmm.
One of the things I love about Julia Louis-Dreyfus playing this role of a countess is just the irony because Julia Louis-Dreyfus is like she's like the heir to like some like industrial magnate fortune. So like she comes from like a billionaire family.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she's like outside of acting, she's super rich just by her family. So this character is like it's just funny to me because it's almost like she's playing a version of herself.
This countess, thing, Okay, wow. Oh, I see. The Louis Dreyfus Company. Oh my.
Yeah, you've heard of that one.
A global merchant firm that's involved in agriculture, food processing, international shipping, and finance?
That one.
The company makes up about 10% of the world's agricultural product trade flows.
Yeah, that's a big
Uh,
percent.
that's a bold wow. Oh my God. That's yeah, okay. I mean, that's gonna involve some dollars there or whatever currency they're using.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, wow. Because it's like, yeah, it's apparently like quasi French or something. I don't know. There's something going on there.
Mm-hmm.
Some kind of French connection. Yeah, it was founded there. Yeah, yeah.
So
But yeah,
anyway,
yeah.
so
No, I think she's good in the scene. I
yeah,
just, yeah, I just don't like the idea of what they're saying. But like, I think for that character, like, yeah, it totally makes sense.
yeah. It's because it's like, what else is she gonna say to get her motivated to do anything? And
Hmm.
go to her sister's gravesite, right? So,
Right, of
uh,
course. Yeah, no, like I
yeah,
said, yeah, there's a clear logic there. I do understand that.
yeah.
I will fully acknowledge that.
Yeah, so you should be watching to see how Clint's going to be exonerated. Like,
Hmm.
oh man, I can't wait to see how he gets off the hook.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that is the problem. Like with resolving it, is basically it's just his word. Like, because like who else is gonna, or are they gonna track down fucking Red Skull? Like, hey, Red Skull, will you just
Mhm.
tell her what really happened? Like, is he gonna give a shit? Like, I don't know. It's like
I don't think they're going to be
who
able to
else
get
even
back
saw
there.
it?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, never mind how they get there. Yeah, like I'm just assuming that someone shows up with a ship or something. I don't know, but yeah, that does seem far fetched. So I feel like that's the only problem with resolving it. They really have to like have a reason for her to believe it. Like, oh, I secretly recorded the whole thing. I don't know. It's just, yeah, it's too bad they were the only people there because um, it's like the audience knows, but everyone else just has to like be like, well, okay, if that's what you say happened, I guess we'll believe you.
Mhm. All right. Well, anything else on Black Widow? I think we both thought the movie was okay. Had a lot
Yeah,
of issues. It Yeah, yeah, I guess I just had my hopes pretty high because I'm like one of my favorite characters in her own solo movie.
yeah.
And I also thought they're going to get more out of it taking place, like the flashbacks. I thought that time period they're going to do more with, but they didn't really get much out of that.
Nope.
The way like Captain Marvel took advantage of it being in the '90s and
Oh yeah,
something out of that time period.
yeah, yeah. Definitely, definitely. Yeah, no, I wish
Oh,
they
did
had
you
done
know by
that.
the way? Did you know by the way that there's a shot of a 311 poster in Captain Marvel?
I almost think I saw it because
Yeah,
that
in the
rings a
phone
bell.
booth when she goes to she tries to like
Yeah,
make a
yeah,
phone
yeah,
booth.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
when Fury first shows up. Yeah, I thought that was
Right,
great.
right.
That's attention to their '90s detail.
Indeed, indeed. Yeah, no, I really enjoyed that. I thought the other thing I thought was funny, just for like mini Captain Marvel cast, is that they showed oh shit, what was it again? So like she crash lands in this blockbuster,
Yeah.
and there was a poster up for God. Now I don't remember what the movie was, and it's gonna ruin my whole point. Do you remember what the movie was?
Oh, I kind of forget.
I shouldn't even say a poster. It was one of those like
The
giant
cardboard
cutout
stand ups
things.
of
Yeah.
was it oh, I can't remember.
Yeah, this is killing me now. I'm
Well, I'll
like,
look it up.
what was the thing? What was the
Let me
thing?
let me find it. I'm on Disney Plus. Hold your horses.
Okay, okay. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. It's a quick shot. Yeah,
Here we go. Here we go.
yeah.
It's like an action movie, isn't it? Isn't it
Yeah,
like is
yeah.
it Die Hard or is it like Alien or is it I'm almost
It's
there.
it's a well-known. Yeah, yeah. I know, right? I just pulled it up because I'm
Oh,
like,
here it is.
how hard can it be to find?
Almost. Oh, she just oh, True Lies.
True Lies. Okay. Yeah. So it's True Lies, right? And I'm like, interesting. I get it. It does fit the period, and I guess like I guess it came out in '94, so I guess there's like a lag in between like when the movie came out in theaters and
Oh
when it would
yeah, it
be
usually would take a
in the
year or
thing.
so.
So I guess, yeah. I was actually thinking it was more anachronistic than it really is. Never mind. No. Full credit. I take it back. I take it all back.
All right,
You win, Captain Marvel.
You win once again. That was the episode of the comic Captain Marvel versus Justin, and
I
Captain
think I
Marvel
got
won.
confused. I think I thought it was Last Action Hero. I think I thought it was something that was earlier.
Oh.
Which was '93. See, that would have been 1 year earlier.
She looks at the right stuff. She looks at a copy of the right stuff.
Yeah. That's, I mean, yeah. I just found it strange that they had a poster up, but it's like, if it just came out on video, which is not implausible, then like they would have the poster up. So like, yeah, my whole point was going to be like that they got that wrong, but yeah, I'm actually not convinced that that's right anymore. So thank you. This has been Incorrect Criticisms with Justin.
Nice.
Join me next time for Citizen Kane is really bad, actually.
I was just gonna say when join me next time when I tell you how Rosebud was not the sled.
Right. I like that idea. I'll try to keep that as a segment.
The one thing I hate about Citizen Kane is they never tell you what Rosebud is. So let's talk about that. How they never tell you. Never clear. Yeah, that's great. I like being adamant about something you're really wrong about it. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll try to make that a recurring thing if I ever just get something completely wrong. I was so sure I was right about that. I felt I had never been more right about anything, and I just felt the rug pull it out from under me as soon as I saw what year it came out. So anyway, I agree with your point though that the nostalgia thing. I think that can be fun doing a period thing, especially like a more recent period thing. And they kind of had the opportunity to do that with Black Widow, and I guess like actually it's The Americans is in the same vein because it's like set in the 80s. As well, it's like very end of the Cold War era stuff, So it's like the Soviet Union is like gradually like falling apart, and I think that period like works. You get a lot of character out of the period basically, and so untapped potential. I think that is the name of the game for this movie.
Black Widow.
Yeah,
had untapped potential.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there's like ingredients here that for a movie that I would really like, and like scenes, but it just didn't. The overall plot and the way the story worked like wasn't very. I don't know. Wasn't very well thought out or well constructed.
So at the top of their test paper, you're going to write, "You can do better than this."
Yeah. Like it's like what if it was a first draft? I could say like, okay, like there's some good stuff here. You have stuff to work with. Like let's just like let's just
I'll
like
give you a 1 week extension.
Yeah,
give you a 1 week extension because you got a lot of promise. But whatever your final, I'm going to grade it again, and whichever of the higher of the two is going to be your score. So
get
a chance to do it again. Get a chance to raise that grade. I like it.
But yeah, I think for me overall it was like on par with the bottom tier of the Marvel movies that I've seen. I felt similar ways about even the first Avengers. Like I thought it was fine, but I wasn't like super into it.
Because you haven't watched it multiple times.
Yeah, maybe that's the problem. I don't know. Like, I felt similarly, like, I wasn't that into the villains. And so, like, the plot itself was very MacGuffin-y. It just didn't really do much for me. I think when you put it in context later and when they go back to it, like, it seems more interesting. But the actual movie, that was my least favorite Avengers movie by far.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It wasn't bad. I found it entertaining. It's probably like tighter and clearer than Black Widow is, but just on a personal level, I think I would put it in a similar like level or something. And Ant-Man and the Wasp. The first Ant-Man I enjoyed more. I think it had a little better story and antagonists and stuff. So yeah. I mean, so I can't complain. I mean, I don't think it was horrible. It just, do better.
Do better. Okay, well, until next time on the Marvel Cast.
Yeah, we'll come back with another Marvel thing someday because they keep making things and we keep watching them.
All right, thanks for listening.
All right, bye everybody.